Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joffy Noodle Legs here again today. I've got another movie video today. I'm just going through some of my sort of horror pickups that I've had over the past month or so. I just sort of pick up here and there, mostly online from H&B, CX, things like that. A lot of them are from places like CX and that, because basically a lot of them you can't buy anymore. So and they're out of print. So and I've been trying to get hold of some films that I seem to have lost along the way. Um, so I'm just trying to sort of pick some up as I go. Some I've already got. Some I've got because it was a cheap price and it's like a sort of remastered version. So I thought, well, I'll pick those up at the same time. The first thing I'm going to go that I got was from Arrow Video. They sent me a replacement disc of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. I believe that on the 4K, that's the 4K disc. There's been a few issues on the disc. Some people have been reporting some sort of issues where the film sort of jumps and misses bits out. I've not seen that, to be honest, but they still sent me one anyway. So thank you very much for the replacement disc for my Henry Portrait of Serial Killer box, which I got about a month ago. So I'm going to go through some of the pickups that I picked up. The first one you've kind of already seen because I've done like a sort of unboxing video for it, and this was the House box set. This is an Arrow, made by Arrow. It's got 1, 2, 3 and 4 in there, and the amazing book. If you've not checked out my sort of unboxing video, go and have a look at that. It'll give you more details on this House box set if you're interested in picking that up. So that's one thing I picked up. Next one I picked up is one of my favourite films that I haven't spoke about really, because it's been out of my collection for a little while. I used to have it on VHS and I used to have it on DVD, and I think the DVD's in one of those boxes that I told you before that on my move seemed to have got lost. So I was really happy to pick this up again. It's one of my favourite sort of horror sort of serial killer films, and it stars Richard Attenborough and John Hurt, and this is 10 Millington Place. Absolutely love this film. It's based on the true life story of John Reginald Christie, who in Notting Hill in London buried some killed and murdered women. This is a true story, and buried them in his garden. It's a really good film. This was made about 1970, 1971. So, but they did do a remake of it with Tim Roth, TV sort of dramatisation a few years back. But this is better. Richard Attenborough's portrayal of Christie is haunting. All the kills are done off screen, so there's no gore or anything like that on the film, but it's a really terrifying story. Yeah, 10 Minutes in Place. Excuse me. It's one of my favourite films of all time. And I couldn't put it in my favourite films of all time video because I didn't have a copy of it, but I'm so glad to have it back in my collection. Next pickup I got, this came out around the sort of Jaws period, sorry. So it's one of those killer animal films from the 70s, and it's Piranha. Again, I'm glad to pick this up. I used to have this on VHS years and years ago, so I'm glad to re-pick it up and put it back into my collection. This is a Blu-ray copy. Yeah, it's really cool. So glad to have it back into my collection. Yeah, it's cool. I love the disc. You can see how they sort of really copied the Jaws kind of cover, but obviously in the Jaws you had the shark swimming upward and the girl swimming that way. But it's kind of like, yeah, they kind of copied that a little bit. But it's a really good film. I do like Piranha. It's one of the best sort of killer animal creature features. There's quite a few in here actually I picked up. Don't know why I'm going back through some of my old sort of collected some old creature features, but it is what it is. And the next one is another one, and it's another killer animal from the 1950s. Yeah, I had this again on VHS a long time ago. Long time ago. I brought it back when Our Price had their sort of side sort of company called Playhouse Video, and I bought it on VHS from there. But so now I've eventually picked up on Blu-ray, and it's Tarantula. You, obviously a lot of sort of these sort of films did bad, like Jaws did bad for sharks. I don't think this does bad for tarantulas because it's just a 1950s story. Obviously, killer tarantulas, not a thing. This is a double disc, comes in Blu-ray and CD. Your tarantulas will not kill you. If you get bitten by a tarantula, you will not die unless you have a really bad allergic reaction. But people can get that from a bee sting, right? So, but anyway, this comes with a poster, which I really like, of the actor. That's really cool. Look at the eyes of the tarantula. How cool is that? Yeah, and it's a fun movie. It's one of the better 1950s sort of creature features, if you like. There was loads of them come out in that time, and a lot of sort of science, all these sort of science fiction 50s films, all played in like American drive-ins in the 50s, and that's a classic film. So I'm glad to have that back in my collection. This pickup here is a slasher film, Alice Sweet Alice, or I think it was called The Holy Murders. I can't remember what the original title was. Holy Terror, I think, something like that, or Holy Murders. But this is based around the sort of Catholic Church almost. It's about a killing that happens in the church. It's quite a really good suspenseful film. I saw it years and years ago. I've not seen it for a while, but I've been watching online a few people reviewing it, and I thought, oh God, I remember that film. I used to really like it. And there's a couple of reviews of this online, so go and put that in your YouTube search engine and see if it's for you. I quite enjoyed the film. I'm going to look forward to seeing it again after all these years. I'm just glad to pick that up again. I got it for about £6 from CX, so that's a really good buy. Okay, so right, next up is a classic, and I do already own it, but this is an Arrow version of it, so it's been sort of like transformed into sort of 4K 2K print, so it's got a better print of it, and it's Carrie. Absolutely love this film. Sissy Spacek, she's absolutely beautiful. I think absolutely beautiful, and I really love this film. It's one of Stephen King's best stories in my head. I'm not a huge Stephen King fan. I know you'll be gasping at that, but I'm not a huge fan of Stephen King. This comes with a cool little booklet, which comes with like sort of breakdown of the cast and sort of stories from some of the filmmakers. It's got some pretty cool pictures in there. I love that one. The back, that'd be a really good poster, I think. Yeah, it's about a girl with supernatural sort of telepathy powers that can move objects, and she's bullied at school. It's a kind of a revenge movie, if you like. So yeah, I must do a revenge top 10. I've got so many I want to do. I want to do a found footage one. I want to do a zombie one. I want to do a revenge one. So, and I'll probably end up doing like a killer animal one as well, or creature features, whatever you want to call them. Carrie. Yes, I managed to pick that up. Again, it was at a good price. It's a really good print. I did watch it. I watched it with my son, and he enjoyed it. It's the first time he saw it, and he really enjoyed it. It's a great film. If you've never seen Carrie, they did do a remake. Just don't watch that one. Please just watch the original one with Sissy Spacek. It's fantastic. Now, this one is one of my favourite creature features of all time. I cannot find it on Blu-ray as a UK release. I believe it does have a sort of like maybe European or US release on Blu-ray, but I can't find it. And I picked up the same sort of copy I had. I had this Vitco copy of this film on DVD, but again it was in that box that went missing. And it's The Deadly Spawn. I really love this film. It's about this sort of like alien creature with teeth, pretty much, and it comes down in a meteorite, and it sort of finds home in the basement and spots of little tiny babies, and there's some quite it's really quite gory actually. Yeah, it was quite a gory film. It says it's digitally remastered. How cool is that? But this is like quite old now, this DVD. I had this back in the 90s, I think, this DVD. Um, but yeah, it's good to have it back in my collection. So it was in that box that I lost of so many good films. So I'm trying to collect some of them back. So I'm really glad to got that back in my collection. It's one of my favourite sort of creature features. Right, got some Arrow pickups now, a couple of those. This is a really good slasher film. I picked this up. Again, I used to have this on VHS years and years and years ago, but I've never picked it up on DVD. But now I finally picked it up on Blu-ray, and this is Blood Rage. It's about two twin brothers. I'm not going to give the plot away because it's got quite a good twist in there. This is a really good film, really underrated film. You don't tend to hear much about it anywhere. Yeah, and there's a reversible cover on this. I like that because that was the VHS cover. There is another cover on there which is quite cool too, which is that. But I actually prefer the one I put up because that's the cover I remember when I had it on VHS. It's about two brothers and about killings and stuff, and it's quite gory. It's a really good film. I'm so glad to have picked this up. I picked it up for a really good price. I think it's about £8 from CX. I had a few trade-ins to do, some games and things that I finished, and I traded them in, got a good voucher for it, and so I've managed to pick up quite a few movies. Not all of these from there, but yeah, I managed to pick up some good ones, and this is definitely a good one, Blood Rage, if you've never seen it. Next up, another great pickup. I do own this on DVD, but it was quite cheap. It was about £6 or something in CX. And I thought, well, I'll pick it up then on Blu-ray, and it's the Incredible Melting Man. Really love this film. I don't have many melt sort of movies. This is cool. It's got 2 discs. It's got a DVD and a Blu-ray, and it's remastered into sort of 4K, 2K picture quality. So it'd be good to watch that. I remember this film really well, and the effects of the Melting Man was really awesome. How they done it was really cool. Quite advanced technology at this time. Now it'd all be CGI. But I prefer the original sort of special effects when it was done by hand. I much prefer those sort of effects. I just think they look better and they add that charm to the film. But this is really good. I'm glad I managed to pick that up on Blu-ray. Now here's another classic killer animal film, and it's an extremely gory one, and it's very 80s, but it's very cool, and it's Slugs. I absolutely love Slugs. When I picked this up, I just couldn't wait to watch it. I watched it the day I got it. I thought, I've got to rewatch this again because I've not seen it since I had it on VHS. And yeah, it's fantastic. It's still good, and it's still extremely gory. It's still really badly acted, but it's a really cool film. It's really well filmed as well, and the effects look cool. Yeah, killer Slugs. Who'd have guessed it? Amazing. Another pickup I got from CX was a modern film. This was out earlier this year, I think. Yeah, and it was Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. I went to the cinema to see this with my lad when it came out, and you know what? It was brilliant because this is more based around the games, the video games. I got it more than I did the other films. The other Resident Evil films are good, but this one is awesome. It's the best of all of them. Because it just captures the sort of the games, and it's all based around like that mansion. So it's got like Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield, and and I think Leon's in there. It's got all the characters that you know from the games. So that's why I related to that more than the other one. So I was glad to pick that up. Getting near the end now. A few more pickups. Another Arrow title. Doom Asylum. Again, I used to have this years ago on VHS. So I was really glad to. Yeah, that's the VHS cover I remember. Yeah, the cover in there. That's the VHS cover that I remember. Yeah, I'm glad to pick this up. It's about these sort of kids that go into an old asylum, and there's obviously a maniac killer living there. It's it's a typical sort of slasher sort of film, but it's good to pick it up. If I remember right, it's really gory, but I've not seen it for a number of years, so I'm glad to pick that up. This one I've never seen before, but I've seen a few people watching it and recommending it, so it's actually quite good. It's a 1990 slasher called Happy Hell Night. I've never seen this, but again, I picked this up for about, I think it was about £5 or £6. And I thought, yeah, I'll grab that because I've been looking at some of the reviews and they actually give it a quite positive review. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing that. Can't tell you much about the story. Um, but what it says there, this guy sold his soul to the devil. So I don't know. It looks like it's Jason on the back there. But yeah, I'm quite glad to see that. Another pickup I've got is to one of my Italian collections. This was quite gory and it's quite a taboo sort of story when it came out. It's from Beyond the Darkness. Not to be crossed with Beyond Darkness. This is Beyond the Darkness. This is an Italian film about a guy that his girlfriend dies and he sort of digs her up and still in love with her and keeps her as his partner and keeps him in the bed. You know where I'm going with it. It's that kind of story. It's quite gory, if I remember right. Again, it's been a few years since I've seen this. I rented it. I never owned it. I rented it out on VHS. A lot of the Italian films I used to rent out because I was quite a young age, and some of the films are quite advanced for me in the sort of understanding them. They were just wacky and weird, like a lot of the Italian ones. So I used to rent them rather than buy them. And I rented this one out, and I remember quite enjoying it. So I picked this up again because it was at a really cheap price, and it can go into my Italian collection. So that is Beyond the Darkness. Looking forward to seeing it again. Now the last one is a modern one from Arrow. Quite looking forward to seeing this one actually. I've again seen some good reviews of it. Not seen it before, and it's The Stylist. It's about this young woman that owns hairdressers, and I think she becomes sort of like obsessed with people's hair and stuff, and she ends up killing some of the customers to her salon and scalping them and wearing their hair sort of thing. I thought, well, that sounds quite interesting. And this edition is pretty cool. It's 2 discs. It's got the movie and it's got the soundtrack. So that's really, really cool. So I wish films would do that more. Some of the classic films would release the film with a soundtrack rather than the Blu-ray and the DVD. I'd rather the Blu-ray and the soundtrack because some soundtracks are awesome. So there you are, guys. That's my pickups that I've picked up over the last month or so. Have you seen any of those? Any of those tickle your fancy? Any recommendations you can recommend? Put them down below in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. And don't forget, if you get a chance, please go and look and watch Horror Hands and subscribe to his channel, please. And Man vs. Film and also The Horror Geek. Please check out those channels. Anyway, guys, until next time, look after yourselves and I really hope I see you all soon.